I'm just going to make sure you guys can all see my screen and we are recording the call. Perfect. Now, welcome everybody to tonight's call. For those of you in Melbourne, as you would have noticed, it's been a gorgeous afternoon here. Springtime has finally arrived. I'm so happy about that. And we do have quite a few people from interstate as well. So I'm really excited to have the gorgeous Julie Parker on the call tonight. Now, my name is Camille Thurnherr, or Turnherr in Swiss. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm a dating coach. I help women in how to attract a suitable partner so they can have the relationship they really long for and deserve. Now, tonight's topic is how to be the authentic and beautiful you so you can have the relationship you deserve. And I've just noticed I've actually changed the wording on the slide, but that's all good now. I'm just going to check. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me. So if just a few of you could maybe type in that you can hear me okay. Perfect. That's all looking good. Now, also just checking, Julie, are you still on the call? Can we still hear you okay?
Hello, I'm here.
Ah, perfect. Now, yes, so everyone seems, still a few people are getting on the call, but we are going to get into it. So, for the people on the call who don't know you, Julie, yeah, welcome. Really happy to have you here on the webinar tonight. Can you just please share a little bit about yourself and what motivated you to launch Beautiful Julie, Beautiful You by Julie.com?
Well, firstly, Camille, thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this webinar. I was really thrilled when you asked me to come and talk about this topic and be interviewed by you. It's something I'm really passionate about, things like authenticity and self-love and, people living their best and most beautiful life. I am a life and business coach, and I'm also a counsellor. And I specialise in working with women who are just truly wanting to find their inner self and have the confidence and the self-belief in themselves to move forward and achieve whatever they want to achieve, whether it be change their career or start a business or, completely alter the direction of their life, whatever it might be. And I really have a particular passion for also therapeutically working with women who are interested in having a more positive body image and improving their self-esteem and confidence as well. And I just feel so blessed to do what I do. I'm a full-time coach and counsellor, and I just love my work and love connecting with everyone at Beautiful You, and just feel really privileged to do what I do, and it's fantastic to be here tonight.
Nice. So, how long have you actually been, how long have you had your full-time business for? Was it a gradual thing or have you been doing it for a long time?
I've been coaching for 4 years. I've been counselling for 15, so that's quite a
Wow.
little bit long, quite a little bit longer. And no, my business built gradually, which I think is how most businesses build. I was working part-time first and did 1 or 2 days, and then slowly built it up and went full-time this year. And it's been going, it's always a bit of a scary leap, but it's been going really well.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I definitely know that from my own experience. It can take a while, but it's such a beautiful feeling, really following your passion and really helping others, which is it's really
Mm,
priceless. So I'm curious.
absolutely.
I'm curious, what specifically do you find rewarding about helping women on their journey of personal development?
Oh gosh, I think maybe the operative question would actually be what I don't find rewarding about it, because truthfully, really there isn't anything. But I think if I had to pinpoint the thing that I love most, it's genuinely seeing people, seeing women grow and change, and often coming to the realization that previously something that they always thought to be true about themselves or their life is maybe not necessarily as truthful as they once thought it was. So many people, when they come to me, think certain things about themselves, such as I'm not lovable, or there's something wrong with me, or I'll never have a positive relationship with my body, or I'm never going to be not anxious or depressed, I'm never going to be confident. And just seeing people go on the journey of unraveling that for themselves and actually learning that that's not their truth, that's not their authenticity, that they can actually be and have those things that they want. It's magic. It's absolute magic when you see someone come to that realization that they are more than they think they are.
Oh, beautiful. And I guess really it's underneath most sort of beliefs. It's that, or under most challenges, like that there's something not quite right about us, or there's something wrong with us, or not good enough. So that it's such a common theme.
Yeah, it is, and I think to a certain extent, it's really understandable why so many of us think that way about ourselves or feel that way about ourselves, because within Western society, we are living in a world where we are constantly bombarded with messages that tell us we're not okay as we are. You're not thin enough, you need to go on a diet. You're not attractive enough, you need this push-up bra. For men, even, you don't have enough hair, you need to get a hair transplant. And constantly we're being sent these messages, you're not okay, you're not good enough, you need to fix yourself. When in fact, there's nothing wrong with you. And there's nothing wrong with me. We all can challenge ourselves to be better and happier and more fulfilled, but it certainly does have anything to do with what size clothing we're wearing, or where we might have got our qualifications from, or how much hair we have. It's so much more than that.
And I'm glad you actually brought that up, because it was going to be one of my questions later on. On your website, you make this beautiful statement. It was something about that, you believe that every person is inherently beautiful, capable of greatness, and worthy of love. And it's definitely something that we're not told by the media, as you just said. It's like this is not a message we actually hear or we even believe on some level.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere, and I think the evidence of that is found in just so many people just really struggling to feel good about themselves. I see it all the time in women, but also in men and young people who I work with as well, just not feeling good enough, not feeling that they measure up, not feeling that they're okay. And it's at times frustrating for me, to see so many people feel this way about themselves. But I have to be careful to make sure that I turn that frustration into action for people.
Yes.
And that's when, if I'm writing at Beautiful You on my blog, or I'm sending out messages, I'm constantly wanting to send messages out to people. You're okay. You're enough as you are. You don't have to change yourself to be someone that you're not to get what you want. And, we need you as you are. And it's so important that, if that's something that you don't know, then, read books, talk with friends, learn to meditate, try new things to help you connect in with who that might be, so you can learn to tap into that part of yourself that needs more love and needs more connection, so that real you can shine through.
Yeah, such a beautiful message, and really what I'm getting from reading what reading on your blog and listening to you is your message is very much about being authentic and being yourself. So I'd love to hear
Mm.
a little bit more about what your approach is. Like, what does authenticity really mean to you when you talk about it?
You know,
It's a big
honestly,
question.
Camille, yeah, look, it's a huge question, but you know what? I actually think the answer to it, for me anyway, is probably not that complex. And I think that possibly it's what most people think authenticity is, and that is that being authentic simply means that you present to the world the real you. That's it, really. That's what it means, that you feel comfortable and confident within yourself, that you say yes when you mean yes, you say no when you mean no, um, that you laugh when you want to laugh, you cry when you want to cry, and you're just, I suppose, vulnerable enough to know that in being yourself, those people who are meant to connect with you and meant to either be your friend or be your lover or be your, close work colleague will come to you. And that those people who don't, won't. And that that's okay, because you believe in yourself enough to let them go, and that you are being authentic and true to yourself, and that those people who are meant to be connected and accepting of you will. Um, I'm an enormous fan in this area of authenticity of the work of Dr. Brene Brown. She has written some really wonderful books. She's a social worker she's a Texan actually, from the US. And she has written some wonderful, wonderful books about the power of vulnerability and actually really putting our true selves out there. And she's done a lot of research into this line of sort of human nature and development, and has really found empirically that those people who are courageous enough to allow their real selves to be shown are happier, they're more optimistic, they're more resilient, and they have better and stronger relationships with people. And that's all due to the fact that they allow themselves to be genuinely authentic and know and send out the message, take me as I am. This is me. Take me as I am.
I love that. And I guess
Mm.
it is a big thing because I get, even with my own clients, I think some of them, it might take them a little while to actually explore what that really means for them and who they really are, because they've disconnected with that part of themselves. So it can be a bit of a process.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, aren't we all on a journey? You
Exactly.
know, oh my gosh, I've just got so much more to learn in my life, and I turned 40 this year, which I thought was going to be, a terrible occurrence, but I'm just loving my 40 so far. Then one of the things that I'm recognizing is that even though, I'm not 21 anymore, even though I might sometimes feel like it, I still feel as if I had so much more to learn, and that there is so much more to do, and definitely the journey is, there's still a long road ahead, there's no doubt.
Nice. I'm actually turning 40 next year, so yeah, I'm just 1 year behind you. Now, most of my clients are single women looking for Mr. Right, so looking for a suitable partner. Why? why do you feel it's so important to be, authentic and true to yourself whilst looking for someone?
Oh, where do you even start with that question? Wow. Well, do you know what? The first thing that came to my mind is that if you actually want the relationship to last, then you have to be authentic right from the get-go. You have to actually, um, you know, be vulnerable and authentic enough to be the real you if you want that person to stay with you and connect with you in a way that is going to mean that you're going to have a lasting and beautiful relationship. Because anything other than that complete authenticity um, is going to mean that at some point in time there will be cracks that show and appear in that relationship. And sometimes they might start very small and it might be just a little hairline fracture and no big deal. But then eventually they'll become thunderous chasms that can't be filled anymore. And you know what? I have certainly, when I was younger, I had experiences of that in relationships myself. You know, particularly in my 20s, I went through a phase, like I know some women do, of just really feeling like I wasn't good enough and that I needed to sort of contort and twist myself into making happy whomever I was with at the time. And predictably, behaving like that has disastrous results. You might make someone magnificently happy for a short period of time, but eventually what occurs is that that lack of authenticity and that lack of being the real you sees the relationship fall apart. And it's only when two people can come together where they feel completely comfortable, firstly with themselves and then with each other, that I think you're going to get a lasting love.
Absolutely, and it goes with what you mentioned before. With for the people who really resonate with who you are, they're meant to be in your life. Where the ones who don't like you the way they are. I mean, why even waste your time and energy on them? Because that there are so many perfect people out there who would make a really good match for exactly the way you are.
Oh, I don't think, yeah, there's any doubt about that. Absolutely. You know, one of the most powerful things that I've learned in my life as I've gotten older is that you can't make everybody like you. And you can't, it's just not possible. You can be the sweetest, most loving, kind woman. You can even be hot and sexy and attractive and feel and think and know those things about yourself, but there will still be people who don't like you. There will still be men who don't connect with you and also women who don't connect with you as well. It is a complete fallacy that all you have to do is be a beautiful person and that means that everyone will connect with you. That's not the way that human connections work. We're not all designed to get along. Not everybody is meant to be your friend. Not everyone is meant to understand and connect with your authenticity and truth. And the best thing that you can do when you find people like that is let them go. Let them find the people that they're meant to connect with. And for those people that do connect with the real you hold on to them for dear life because that's where real friendship and real love stems from.
And that's so spot on. And isn't it? It's such a wonderful feeling. I'm just thinking even of my closest friends, and when I first met them, we just sort of it was nearly like love at first sight. Even like, oh, I recognize you, and there's a similar wavelength, and you can just totally
Yeah.
be yourself with them, and it's so liberating and so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what it should be like. And I think that these are messages, that, and it's so hard with young girls and boys too as they're growing up with peers and things like that. I have a 14-year-old stepdaughter, with my husband from his first marriage, and she's adorable, and we get along so well. And one of the things I'm always wanting to talk to her about is just to be connected with her around her friendships, because one of the things that I know is that a girl's friendships from that young age, as they're growing and maturing and learning about how to relate to people independently, they form so much of the basis of how you relate as an adult later in life. And I'm always hoping for her that her friends accept her as she is, and that they don't feel that they need to be anybody else that they're really not, that they don't have to impress one another, that they just actually can laugh and be and enjoy one another's company and help one another with homework and do all those sorts of things, and stay away from the boys.
It's such a interesting age that I'm sure
Yeah.
yeah, you'll see her really grow through the next few years.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Yeah, we can already see it beginning to happen. The difference between 12 and 14 has been incredible. So I can only imagine what the difference between 14 and 16 is going to be.
Oh, definitely. Now we touched base a lot on authenticity, and I'd like to just talk a little bit more about the whole thing about being, feeling beautiful inside and out. What what are
Mm,
some of the tips or some of your thoughts that have helped women, feel more beautiful regardless of their body shapes, or regardless of
mm.
anything?
Well, I think that there's lots of different tips. But one of the first ones I think that is really wonderful for people to really help themselves with this area of their life is to first of all recognize that you are entirely unique. There is absolutely nobody else like you or like me anywhere else on the planet. Out of the billions and billions of people that inhabit the earth, no one has the exact same eye colour that you do. No one laughs exactly the way you do. Nobody has the same, type of way of expressing themselves, of showing love, of, the exact makeup of your body. And when things are incredibly unique, that makes them very rare. And things that are rare are precious and they're priceless. And this individuality and uniqueness is something that I think that we should all own more and we should celebrate more. And that's always one of the things that, I really love to try and get women that I'm working with to really see and try and learn about themselves. I think one of the other things that is really helpful, particularly in encouraging women to accept and love their bodies more, is to actually really ask themselves the question that if they genuinely have been putting themselves down, beating themselves up, trying to yo-yo diet themselves, up and down and into oblivion, to actually genuinely ask yourself the question, how's that working for you? How is that beating up of yourself genuinely working for you? Because in my experience, it doesn't work for anybody. And I think that one of the greatest things that we can do is kind of go, okay, I need to recognize that that's not happening for me. I'm trying to sort of love myself more. I'm trying to feel better about my body. And the negative way of going about it is not working. So how might I be able to inject more self-love, more self-confidence, more positivity into my body? What do I need to do to learn to love and accept myself more? And that to me is one of the reasons why diets don't work. 97% failure rate. Research tells us after, 3 years' time, more than 97% of people who have been on a diet have put back on the weight that they've lost or more. And I believe that one of the main reasons that that happens, apart from the fact that they're not sustainable, is the fact that people usually start diets from positions of self-hate. I hate my body. I hate my thighs. I'm too fat. I'm not acceptable. And when they begin down that path, it doesn't work, because their reasons behind doing so aren't steeped in love and connection for themselves. I also think that one of the best things that we can do to help build our body confidence is to not compare ourselves to other people, particularly anything that we see on television or in the movies or magazines. But I also think just in general, is not comparing ourselves to other people who are around us and making false beliefs and creations inside of our mind that, oh, she must be really happy because look at her, she's really thin, or that's the reason why she's got that man because, you know, she's got big boobs and blonde hair or whatever it might be. You know, people make these assumptions all the time, and unfortunately they're really damaging, and so often they're not true, and all they are is deflecting away from the work that your inner voice and heart is telling you that you need to do for you.
Absolutely.
There's so many more. There's so many more, Camille. I could go on for ages, but there's maybe a few to get people started.
Definitely, and I can hear your passion, the passion in your voice that you are so passionate about this subject. So it's, yeah, beautiful to hear. Now you've actually written a book on the subject of body image and eating disorders. So I was curious, our relationship to food is such a fascinating topic. Do you believe there is a similarity and parallel around how we relate to food and how we tend to nurture or not nurture ourselves?
Oh, completely. Yeah. For many people, not all, but for many people, there is a direct relationship. And often the only difference about that relationship is how it then manifests in people's behavior. So if someone is not being particularly self-loving, or giving to themselves, they're not nurturing themselves, as you say, sometimes what can happen is that they don't eat enough. And the result of that is that they lose a lot of weight that maybe they, is dangerous for them to do, and they tip into a mindset that's steeped in depression and anxiety and, potentially develop a clinical eating disorder, or potentially just even disordered eating, whereby they really struggle to eat food and have a positive relationship with it because it makes them feel very anxious. The opposite, of course, can happen, is that when we're not nurturing ourselves, loving ourselves, if we're feeling very emotional, or we're trying to control something or hide our thoughts or feelings about something, we can sometimes eat too much. And the result of that is that people also have difficulties with their health and binging and their mental health as well. And so really, so often when I've been working with women who have potentially been very much over their most healthy weight or very much under their most healthy weight, a lot of people would be surprised to know that the thought processes and the hurt that those people are experiencing within their hearts is often quite similar. They might look very different on the outside, but the feelings that they're having on the inside are quite similar.
Definitely, yeah, and it's such a big thing. And I actually suffered from an eating disorder in my early 20s. It was only a couple of years, and I got counselling, and it was all fine. But so many of most of my friends would have gone through some sort of, and or just a challenging relationship with food. So I guess it's so important for women to find different ways to nurture ourselves as well, that are really connecting to to our bodies in a more healthy way.
Mm-mm. Well, I think that, that is such a challenge for so many of us because food, of course, is something that we need to live. We do need to nurture and nourish our bodies with food, but it's often, I find, one of the easier portals for women to express pain or express even joy. We turn to food. Food is a part of celebrations. It's a part of everything along the life spectrum from when babies are born and we celebrate and we have cake and first birthdays and christenings right through to when someone dies and we have a wake and there's usually lots and lots of food. And when people die, people bring food. A food is an enormous part of the life cycle. And when people are having difficulties, in life, a hard time at work, or they're struggling emotionally or psychologically with something, food is often one of the things that people turn to for comfort, connection, and to actually help see them through a time. And to a certain extent, that behaviour is quite normal, but it's when it continues or it starts to escalate that then we know that things can develop into a bigger problem.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's an ongoing journey. It's definitely, it's never ending. It's
Sure.
yeah.
Mm.
Now, in
Yep.
my, I run like a 6 week webinar course, the Ignite Mr. Right webinar course, and I do talk a lot about the importance of really being connected to our bodies, feeling at home in our body, and from like I've come up with a few ways to do that myself. Have you do you do anything in your own daily practice to reconnect with you and do you practice meditation or yoga? What are some of your
Mhm.
practices?
Yeah, look, I do practice yoga. I've actually been really concentrating in the last just few weeks, actually, as the weather's been getting warmer and we have a lovely sunny deck out the back of our house, in developing more of a home practice. And that's something that I'm really enjoying and I'm wanting to continue. And I find that's just the most wonderful way to start my day. I want to be honest and say I don't do it every day. I think sometimes, we can hear people talk about these things and they think, wow, she gets it right all the time and, she's just so good to herself and, all that sort of stuff. Not all the time. Sometimes I do miss it, and I might only squeeze it in a couple of times a week. It depends, but the most important thing that I keep reminding myself about that is not to beat myself up about it, but just to return to it when I can. Um, Other lovely things that I do for my body is, you know what, this this sounds really simple, but I think is such an important thing that I see lots of women who I connect with professionally, really struggle with sometimes. And that is that I wear clothes that fit me. I don't wear clothes that are too big and baggy and hide my body. And I also don't wear clothes that feel tight and constricting and make me feel uncomfortable. And so many women that I see who are struggling with body image issues, they say, they'll come and I say, how are you going today? And I say, look, I'm just having the most terrible fat day and it's just knocked me for six and I can barely breathe. I've struggled with it so much. And I go, how are you feeling about the clothes that you're wearing? And Camille, it's got nothing to do with what the clothes look like. It's got everything to do with how the clothes feel. And they go, well, actually, these jeans just feel like they're about to cut me in half. And I said, well, how else can you expect to feel if you're wearing clothes that feel uncomfortable, either because they're so big that they're floating everywhere or they're so tight that they're constricting your body? You're not going to feel good. So wear clothes that fit. Wear clothes that fit, and wear clothes that you want to wear too. Bugger whatever's in fashion. Just wear what you love and wear what you want to wear. Um,
that's
I only use. Yeah, go,
Yeah,
sorry.
I love that you say that, because I've just sort of gone through a stage where now I'm often between, two sizes, and now I'm just like, I'm always just going to go for something slightly bigger that actually feels really comfortable, rather than trying to fit into
Hmm.
the size. And it's like, oh my God, this is, why hadn't I thought of this before? And it
Yeah,
makes such a big difference.
oh, completely. And it seems like such a small thing, a really small thing, but honestly, it's not. It is not. It is actually something that is, really important, and it can actually genuinely make an enormous difference to how you feel within your body and how positive and loving you feel towards it.
And I
One
guess
of the
that
other things that, yeah,
I just was going to add one more thing. It's about
mm,
letting go of what size we think we should be. The whole dress size thing,
absolutely.
because um, it's like I used to. Yeah, when I was younger, I just had this thing that I needed to be a certain size, and then if a top was not that size, it's like, oh, what? I haven't put on any weight. It shouldn't be a 10. I'm an 8 or whatever it was, and it's
Mm,
so ridiculous. So it's really about letting go of all that I should be this or I should be that, rather than, okay, what actually feels good on me. So yeah, just wanted to add.
yeah. That's right. And you're so right. And it's also about what feels good on me right now. I might be size X at the moment, but I really want to be size Y. Okay? But you have to dress for the size that you are. You have to dress for whatever it is your body shape at this point in time. And often, women that I've worked with have said, no, no, I'm not buying any clothes until I'm size Y. I will put up with these clothes, them not fitting or falling apart or being old or whatever, until I get to be that size. And one of the things that I work with and try and encourage them on is go, you know what? Why don't you just go shopping as size X in the body that you are now, and try on some new clothes in the body that you're in and see how it feels. And they
Nice.
come back and they've got a new wardrobe. And they go, actually, you know what? I thought I really looked amazing. And I didn't look nearly as bad as I thought that I did. And when I tried on these beautiful clothes that fit me and just were new and fresh, and it's not about spending a lot of money, I just suddenly felt so much better about myself. And I go, well, there you go. It's all about being present with yourself and loving yourself as you are now. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that we might not want to make some changes, um, but it means that you do them with love. And one of the things that I often say to people who are thinking that they either want to lose a lot of weight or even just some weight, or they don't feel good enough as they are and they want to make some changes, is I say to them, even from a food perspective, how might you eat if you truly loved yourself? If you truly thought about food as something that was to nourish your body and make you feel wonderful and fabulous, how would you eat? Because that's very, very different to being on a diet, which is all about deprivation and saying no to so many things.
And so it's like
It's a completely
self-punishment.
different yeah, it's a completely different mindset altogether. And just one last thing, the other thing that I do, and this seems like a really simple thing, but I love it, is that for many years now, with all of everything from my deodorant to my shampoo, my conditioner, hair and body products, shower gels, moisturizers, and even makeup, I only use products like that are chemical free. So I know that everything that I'm putting on my body is totally natural and organic. And some of it is expensive and it's a treat and it's often a birthday gift. But there are so many more products like that coming out now, and I just absolutely love knowing that everything that I put on my body and goes in my body through my skin, our largest organ, is natural and organic, and it's got lots of herbs and essential oils and beautiful essences and things like that in it. That always just makes me feel really good, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something very loving and giving for my body.
Nice, I love that. And I guess that's a really good question for anyone who's on the call to ask, ask yourself what actually makes me feel good. What can I do to nurture myself? Because it's sometimes different things to different people. With even
Mm.
my clients, while they're getting ready to attract a suitable partner, I ask them what makes you feel loved. And if it is like being affectionate or being touched, it's like, well, could you go and get a nurturing massage once a week to get that need met? So
Mm.
ask yourself,
Mm.
what is it that makes me feel really, it is for you, it's using the more expensive natural products really makes you feel great
Mm.
about yourself and makes you feel like you're doing
Yep.
the right thing for your body.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, those are just a few things. There's so many, but yeah, just a few. Mm.
Now, I'm also curious how you are. I know you're a very busy lady. You're juggling, your business, your family, and relationship. What are some of your tips that keep your relationship in a healthy and happy state? What's your secret?
Oh, my secret. Okay, well, I'm very happily married to a beautiful husband. I didn't come to true love until later in life. I didn't get married until I was 36. And so I've only been married for 4 years, but they've been 4 really wonderful years. And as I mentioned before, my husband, this is his second marriage, and he has a 14-year-old daughter from his first marriage.
Mhm.
Um, there are lots of things that I think that we do that are really important. And I think the first one that comes to mind is we never take each other for granted. And so that to me means always making sure, no matter how comfortable and how there and how accessible someone is to you, that you never ever forget the small things, such as saying thank you, asking for things nicely, just simple things like that. Because often I think sometimes those things can happen when people get started to be taken for granted, and just expecting that people will give or do things for you, and you don't actually need to show them that care and respect. So we always do that. We always make sure that we do lovely things together. We don't necessarily all the time, but we don't necessarily have a date night, which I know that some people do, but we will just make sure that always on our horizon there is fun time, whether it be, a treat for gold class at the movies, or we go on a picnic, or we go away twice every year for a weekend, just the two of us. We always make sure that we do that twice a year, on top of any other holiday that we might have. So that might be just a camping experience that's really inexpensive, but we always go away twice a year where we get to spend that time together.
I love that.
Yeah, just the two of us, so we can, just have that time, which is really lovely. We laugh a lot. We try and find humour and joy in as much as we possibly can. And I think that one of the other things that we do is we talk a lot. We talk to each other all the time. How are you feeling? How's work? You're looking a bit stressed around the edges. We make sure we talk to one another a lot. Because in my experience as a counsellor, and when I've been supporting people who are going through difficult relationships, or even couples counselling, which is something I do sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, is in my experience, when a relationship begins to break down, usually the beginning of that is when people stop talking to each other. is when they actually stop communicating what's really going on for them. So we talk to each other a lot, and I guess I feel very blessed that I find him interesting and fascinating and funny, and enjoyable to be around. So for me, talking to him is a joy, and listening to him is a joy as well.
Oh, how beautiful. I'm sure he feels very, lucky to be with you too. I'm curious, how did you know that he was going to be a long-term partner, in the early stages? What happened there?
Well, oh, gee, that is a really great question because when I met him, I had been on my own for about a year and a half, and I had come out of a previous relationship that didn't end well, and I had finally made a decision to myself that I needed to do some more self-development work, and I really needed to get stronger and more resilient within myself, because when that relationship ended, it was a real blow for me, and I took it very badly, and it took me a long time to recover from it. I was brokenhearted,
Mm,
basically, which I know so many of us have experienced, and I absolutely believe personally, but also know within my own professional experience, that having a broken heart is devastating. It's something that is it can be life changing and not necessarily for the better. So when I met my husband, I instantly, it wasn't love at first sight, but I instantly felt incredibly comfortable around him, like what you were talking about with your friends before. And I don't think that I'd ever had that feeling with anyone ever. And from our first 2 dates, I thought, wow, I feel very connected to this person on so many different levels. Like we talked well, and we laughed, and we enjoyed food and wine, and it just felt very friendly almost to begin with. It wasn't, an enormous big passion bang or anything like that. It just felt very comfortable. And from that passion really, really grew, and it grew quite quickly. And it just seemed to feel so much more authentic and right than it ever did. And I think for me, when I knew that probably this was going to be long term, was probably around about the third or fourth date, when interestingly enough, he started to talk a little bit more about his experience of being married before. And I had always wanted and believed in my heart that I would like to get married one day. And something absolutely fascinating happened. He said, I don't think I ever want to get married again. And yeah, and this voice inside my head said, that's okay. Doesn't matter. That's not what this is about. So don't run in the opposite direction. Don't try and change him and make him think that, you know, this is everything about what you need. That's not what you need. This is a man that you feel already connected to. It's going really well. So he doesn't want to get married. Big deal. Just let it go. And of course, so often, Camille, as we know, when we let things go, 12 months later, he said, I've changed my mind. Do you want to get married?
Oh, this is
And I
like
went,
this is such a beautiful story.
yeah. And I said, actually, I do. I said, as long as you're sure. He said, yeah, I've changed my mind. He said, I want to get married to you. He said, I didn't think I wanted the institution again. He said, but now I've realised I do want to get married to you. And I went, fabulous. And I said, yes, and the rest is history.
Oh, I really, really love that story, and there are a couple of really important points that you pointed out there. So one of them is definitely, so many women have their lists of what the perfect guy needs to be, needs to look like, needs to have. So you really you trusted your intuition, and focused on what felt right with
Mm.
him, the connection. And also the other thing was, I guess, yeah, there wasn't that huge intensity there straight away, but it grew because you
Mm.
again you trusted that there was something there, and then you did get what you wanted by letting go. How beautiful is that?
Yep. Yeah, it was lovely. And I also think, Camille, too, that I'd had experiences where that sort of bang was there right from the start, and it ended up being heartbreaking. It ended up being, a situation of losing one's head, falling too hard too quick. And so I think there was probably also a voice inside the back of my mind that was saying, just don't run because this is a different experience to others. Could this actually be different for a reason, meaning that this is the right one? And that's what it turned out to be.
I love that. So yeah, really, really strong message for, because a lot of my clients are women in their in their mid 30s, late 30s. So it can happen, and
Oh, yeah.
it's
Yep.
never too late. It's never too late, and it is really about trusting that the right person is out there, and not being so
Mm,
critical.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So how do people actually find you? So you've got I just want to mention your website, so
Mm,
beautifulyoubyjulie.com. Um
that's
as,
right.
as far as if anyone would actually like to see you as a coach, how would they get in touch with you? Is it via the website as well?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a contact page on the website there, and yeah, I welcome people contacting me. Anybody that's if they think that they need coaching or counselling of any sort, and yeah, most of my business, in all honesty, I'm very blessed, comes through word of mouth, um, which is really wonderful, and a really positive sign for me that hopefully I'm having and are having that positive impact that people need. But absolutely, I still get inquiries through the website, and I work with people all over Australia, and I have international clients as well.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being on the call tonight, and I trust that a lot of the women on the call got so much from it, and hearing someone's story is always so inspiring. So I'm really glad I asked you that question.
That's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure, and I've really enjoyed talking with you, Camille. And yeah, I wish everybody the best, and thank everyone for joining us.
Thanks, Julie. Have a great
Pleasure.
night. Bye.
Bye.